Shalom. So we're learning Zohar and we're explaining the eighth Sphira, which is Netzach. Netzach is victory. Now, why is the eighth Sphira Netzach? Because we're counting from the top of the 10 Sphirot. We're counting not just from the 7, which starts from Chesed. We start from the top. So that's we have Keter. So Keter is like the crown. Then we have Chachma, right? So we're starting from the top of the 10 Sphirot. We have Chachma, wisdom, Bina, understanding. Then we have Chesed, loving kindness, Gvura, strength. Then we have the Tiferet, which is compassion, and that here's where we skip to Malchut after Tiferet, because usually Malchut is down all the way below at the bottom, but as we explained, that in this case the Malchut rises up and it goes up to the level of Tiferet, up to the bottom third of Tiferet, of compassion. So what we have here is that the Tiferet, right after the Tiferet you'd have Malchut, right? So that would be the Sphira after it, even though it's usually not there. It's usually the lowest Sphira. The kingdom is usually the lowest, but over here we see that it comes right after the Tiferet. So then after the Malchut, right, we continue counting down. We Netzach, which is the right leg, okay, and that's like standing on the right leg. So that's the Netzach, and it's coming out of Malchut. So here, there's a little bit of a different way of understanding it according to the Ramak or according to the Arizal. So he says that according to the Ramak, he says that the Netzach, the victory, it comes out and is it's like created from and comes out of the Malchut, out of the kingdom, right? Because in this case it's the one after it, right? But on the other hand, not really, because it comes after Tiferet, and which is compassion, and the Netzach comes after Tiferet, not after Malchut, right? But since the Malchut rose up and is there, so after it comes the Netzach, so he counts it more like it comes out from the Netzach, and the Netzach comes out from the Malchut and not from the Tiferet. But the Rizal, he doesn't say anything about this. So in the Matok Midvash, he doesn't explain that the way of the Ramak. He explains it the way of the Arizal, because the Arizal doesn't talk about this idea that the Netzach, that the victory would come from, is like created from and sprouting forth from the Malchut. But in any case, according to this partsuf, this picture, so it would be, the order would be Tiferet, then Malchut, and then Netzach. And so Netzach is going to be the 8th Sphira, counting from the top. Okay? So the Zohar says, the Creator took out, by way of the loving kindness, which is the reason and the cause, to take out the Sphira, the 8th Sphira, which is under it, right? So we have the Netzach. It's coming out, right? It's the Chesed, the loving kindness, is what's bringing it out. Okay, So because of the sphere of loving kindness, it's bringing out this victory. And that's the 8th sphere now, which is the Netzach, the victory. And it's coming out from, according to the Rizal, it sounds like it's coming from the Chesed, or because of the Chesed, because of the loving kindness. And it's written on a star, on one star, which is the Tiferet. The Tiferet, the compassion and beauty, is like a star. And that's a secret of what it says in the Torah. Dorach kochav miyakov. I pulled out a star from Yaakov. That means Dorach is like pulling back an arrow, right, from a bow, like shooting an arrow. I guess you could say like a shooting star, right? So Yaakov, Jacob, right? He's like a star, and Tiferet, the compassion, is a sphere of Yaakov. So it's like, so when you're saying that it's written on a star, on a star. So we're talking about the Tiferet, the compassion and beauty, and is a star. Is called a star. And you would say that the Netzach, the victory, is written in the Tiferet, in the compassion, because it's a branch of it, right? When we have the Tiferet, right after Tiferet comes Netzach. So it's like a branch coming from it, right? And also, when you look at the Tiferet as like its own sphera, as its own constellation, you have the 6 corners around it. So the Netzach is one of the 6 corners of the Tiferet. But in any case, it's coming out. It's right after Tiferet. Even in this case, we have this idea that it's actually coming from the Malchut, because the Malchut is right below. Right now, it's like on the bottom third of Tiferet. So it looks like the Netzach, the victory, is coming from the Malchut, but it's still, in any case, however you look at it, it's still a branch of the Tiferet. So it runs with this one roshem. Like a roshem is like an impression. It's a writing, and that's the yesod. Okay, so we have below. We have the yesod, right, and the yesod is like this connecting force. It connects the upper and lower spheres. So it brings the shefa of Tiferet to it. So why would we have the Netzach using the Yesod, bringing this channel? It's like a pipeline, the Yesod, from the Tiferet. In this case, we see that the Malchut is above. Malchut is above the Netzach, and so in a way we also have the Yesod, right? But it seems like the Yesod is above Netzach, even though it's not counted. It's counted here at that is afterwards. That would be the 10th sphere. But what it does is it uses the power of Yesod, which is the power to bring a flow of energy down, like a pipeline. So it's the way it says it here is he's running in with the roshem. I mean, a roshem is like it's not the real thing. Like the yesod is actually down below it, but it's using like the impression and the ability and the factor of the yesod, right? it's running with this impression of the Yesod, in order to bring the flow of energy from the Tiferet to the Netzach, which is coming from it. Okay, so that's it for today, and tomorrow we'll learn some more.